Welcome to H2O Croutons.
I'm Alexis.
And I'm Jennifer. Together, we're mother
and daughter co-host. Think Gen Z
meets Gen X and let the games begin. We're here to add a little crunch to your day with real talk on everything from A to Z.
From pop culture and the latest news to deep dives on topics that you didn't even know you cared about, we've got you covered.
So, grab a drink, get cozy, and let's dive in. This is H2O Croutons. Hey everyone, it's H2O Croutons. This is Jennifer. Next to me on my side is...
Steve.
It sounds like a bomb volume or something. Steve. What was that?
It was some one of the DreamWorks movies, I think. Not Up. Something. Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. That was it. There was a monkey in there whose name was Steve, and he had a computer voice, and he sounded like this. Steve. I kid you not.
You could do a character for voiceovers for that one. That was kind of funny. It might be partial.
Fair.
So, today on this episode, we're going to be talking about J6, which most of you know as January 6th, but we now shorten J6. So, in the last segment, we're going to be talking about Dignified transfer. And I sound uppity about that because I keep saying it backwards, and I'm going to totally bleep that out, right?
And she's totally getting dirty looks from me.
You guys know he's a veteran, so I should note my cousin was a fallen soldier. I gotta learn some things. I'm dyslexic sometimes. At any rate, we will be right back, and we're going to dive right into January 6th. Get ready for this one. It's going to be a doozy.
Does anyone else have that one podcast recommendation? When you're yearning for genuine connection, the podcast recommendation is perfect with the Soul Connection podcast. That's where H2O Croutons comes in. It's like eavesdropping on the coolest Gen X mom and her Gen Z daughter. They chat, argue, and laugh about everything you think you shouldn't talk about. It's fresh, it's fun, and never boring. Tune in and trust me, you'll be hooked.
Welcome back. So, diving right into January 6th, Profit Over Patriotism Day. So, the reason I'm bringing it up is pretty simple. And I think it's something a lot of people either don't know, and if they do know and they're choosing to be willfully ignorant about it, or turning a blind eye. I'm going to be very blunt. Pisses me the off.
That is one of the first of many F-bombs because I haven't even wound up yet.
Exactly. So, I will say, Steve's probably not going to say who he voted for, whether he voted for him or not. I don't know. We don't really discuss that.
Oh, I'll say it. I definitely did not vote for Trump.
I did. The first time. I'll be clear. Let me be clear.
Oh, do I have to do that voice? Let me be clear. Hi, I'm Barack Obama.
I don't know. I have to introduce you to that one guy in Georgia.
Yeah, he does a good one.
You've seen him?
Yeah, you showed me the video.
Oh my God, he's
good.
He's a white Obama.
He is.
The way he speaks. Anyway, so I'm just going to start out with what I read, and then we can go into discussing it. Does that sound good to you?
That works for me.
Okay. I wrote something, and I'm going to put it up on the blog and or my Substack for H2O Croutons. But I haven't finished it yet. And the reason why is there's been a lot going on politically and at home and life. We've had this big storm that decided to try to tear half our house up. Yay, tornadoes and wind and hail. But moving on to this, I started it by saying, on January 6, 2021, we watched 174 Capitol police officers be brutally beaten. One died due to a stroke the very next day. 4 died by suicide within 7 months. Suicide. We now treat these officers the same way we did our Vietnam vets. Horribly. These acts were committed by undesirable people who lack honor and integrity, as they blatantly chose to listen to Trump's, quote, fight like hell, end quote, statement, because his narcissism couldn't handle the injury of losing in the 2020 election.
I think we've talked about this a few times regarding, and it's less speaking to you, more speaking to the audience, or anybody who's listening.
Yeah.
I'm a veteran of the United States Army. Spent most of my time stationed in Maryland, so had a lot of friends in that area. One of my very good friends is on the Capitol Police Force. Won't give his name, won't give his rank, anything, position, anything of that. Just that he dealt with that. Those were his friends, his coworkers. And that was a very rough day for him. So it's not exactly personal to me. Obviously I wasn't there, wasn't in the middle of it, but someone who I care about, one of my friends was in danger that day because of A, you know what? I'm not even going to say in my opinion, because at this point he is a political and public figure. And while I don't have libel laws and slander laws committed to memory, I'm covered pretty much. A narcissistic man whose ego could not handle the fact that he lost. His own actions caused him to lose that election. The man ran a 2-month campaign. Obviously, my public school education is not helping me today. Ran a 2-month campaign and then spent the next 4 years claiming that the election was stolen from him, was rigged. And the unfortunate reality is there are a number of people in our country who, A, are poorly educated themselves, B, refuse to admit when they're wrong, and C, are so desperate to be a part of a group that they were willing to commit assault and battery, public destruction of public property, and to threaten the lives of elected officials in our country. It's our own senator, who I did not vote for, and I'll make this known, Josh Hawley, also known as Jogg's Hallway, because I've never seen a man run that fast in dress shoes on marble floors. The man helped encourage that same stolen election narrative, sprinted out of the Capitol, there's footage of it, and then turned around and raised his fist in solidarity with the mob that he helped to incite. And that's exactly what it was. A mob was incited. A riot was incited. I have nothing but contempt for the elected officials who played into that. I have nothing but contempt and disgust for the people who participated in it, because I took an oath to uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States of America. Those elected officials also took that oath. Many of those people in the Capitol, Ashley Babbitt comes to mind because they tried to play her up as a martyr. A United States Air Force veteran took that same oath. And then she threatened somebody's life. And this is just reality. If you come with deadly force, you would get treated to deadly force. And please, if you feel that I am wrong on that, please feel free to debate me. It will not be a pretty time for you. I've been very calm about this. I'm going to say what it is in the vernacular of the military, of my veteran self, and where I grew up, and as a clodhopper from Northwest Indiana. It was a fucking riot, and as far as I'm concerned, they should all be still in jail doing hard time, not pardoned, because that's what I got reelected? Oh, I have the power to do that? Okay, I'll let you all out on the street. One of them from my home state was pardoned within a month, I believe. Maybe I'm wrong on that timing.
I think it was only a couple weeks, actually.
Might have been a couple weeks. Decided he was going to pop off to a police officer and threaten a cop's life when he got pulled over for a traffic stop. and got himself killed for it. So, in my opinion, that's where I'll use it here, no great loss.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I'm done now.
It's okay. So, I actually have two things I want to read off of. And one's interesting. He's still alive. But we'll get into that in a minute. It's a very interesting article. So, real quick, I'm going to give their names.
Okay.
So, the District of Columbia's Police Department, and this is from Reuters, August 2nd, 2021. The D.C. Police Department on Monday said 2 more police officers who responded to the January 6th riot at the U.S. Capitol have died by suicide, bringing to 4 the number of known suicides by officers who guarded the building that day. Metropolitan Police Officer Gunther Hashida was found dead in his home Thursday, Department spokesman Hugh Carew said in a statement. Hashida joined the District of Columbia's Metropolitan Police Department in May of 2003. Another MPD officer who responded to the Capitol on January 6 was Kyle DeFreytag. DeFreytag? I'm not really sure. It's DeFreytag. He was found dead on July 10th. His cause of death was also suicide. He had been with the police department since November 2016. MPD officer Jeffrey Smith and U.S. Capitol Police Officer Howard Liebengood also responded to the Capitol riot and later died by suicide. Hundreds of then President Donald Trump supporters stormed the building that day in an unsuccessful attempt to stop Congress from certifying Democratic President Joe Biden in his election win. 4 people died on the day of the violence. A Capitol police officer who had been attacked by protesters died the following day. More than 100 police officers were injured. That number is 174. The mayhem led to Trump's second impeachment trial. More than 500 people have been arrested for their roles in the violence. During emotional testimony last week, 4 police officers told House of Representatives Special Committee they were beaten, threatened, taunted with racial insults, and thought they might die as they struggled to defend the Capitol against the mob. We should tap into the fact that people keep pointing at Pelosi. Well, she could have called them in. She could have called them in. And yes, she could have. I'm not going to defend that. But we both know who the commander-in-chief was that day.
I am gonna defend that because the Speaker of the House the Speaker of the House can ask. She could ask, and I believe she did.
No, she said she messed up that day.
Okay, well then that is on her.
Yeah. But he could have called them in.
However, the Commander-in-Chief of the United States military is the president. And at that time, the sitting president of the United States, Donald John Trump. The Secretary of Defense at that time could have also made that call. I can't remember his name. He was some Special Forces twit. By the way, buddy, if you happen to catch this, come at me, bro. I got jokes for days about you green beanies. Anyway, the Secretary of Defense could have done it as well. Congress controls the purse and Congress can declare war, they are not the ones that control and command the United States military. So 2 people on that one fell down. By the way, I failed to mention this earlier. I'm going to call January 6th those who participated and threatened to hang Mike Pence, who politically I disagree with Mike Pence. That being said, I do find him to be an honorable man because he did what he was supposed to do that day. So chanting "Hang Mike Pence" and threatening the vice president's life, y'all committed treason that day. That is exactly what it was. Treason against the United States of America.
It says here on the House.gov 2024. As Nancy Pelosi was being evacuated from the Capitol on January 6, 2021, she admitted that as Speaker of the House, she was responsible for the security failures and for not having the National Guard at the Capitol. He claims to have called her and said, do you want me to have you want me to call him in? And apparently she said no.
Who claims that? Trump?
That's what's been said. I don't have all the information on this, so that's something.
Trump wasn't answering his phone.
I'm not saying that somebody called him. I'm saying he called her. Yeah.
I have so many words. None of them fit for children.
I actually pulled him in on this one. I was like, I need you to come into this one because and I don't have my notes. Emotional.
I don't have my notes in front of me, which drives me absolutely batty right now. Because if I recall, he didn't call. There were Fox News bodies sending text messages to Trump's maybe not chief of staff, but to his people, saying, hey, this is out of hand. He needs to get out there and say something. And the man refused. He was in his bunker,
right,
in the White House, watching it on TV. The First Lady would not do anything like that. She would not say anything. They disgust me. That's the best way I can put it.
Big facts. But I just want to, apparently, there's a video in New York Post, but we know it's a New York Post, but it says, Nancy Pelosi says, I take responsibility for not having National Guard at the Capitol on January 6th in video shot by her own daughter.
And maybe so, but, and again,
I already said it in the beginning when we started this, but Donald Trump is commander-in-chief. He didn't need to call her and ask.
No.
Do you want me to? He should have just done it.
Absolutely
and
should have.
And people need to recognize that. Because they want to shift blame. That's a bunch of people that shift blame of what happened that day, and it all comes down to him, and you can't convince me otherwise.
For a man who claims to be in charge of things, he certainly didn't step up. So, I'm the commander-in-chief. I'm the leader. Well, a leader steps up and does what needs to be done at the time, regardless. And for somebody who enjoys throwing his power and his weight around, take that second part as you will.
See,
it's for somebody who likes to do that. He certainly seems incapable of actually taking initiative.
When all that happened that day and afterwards, he kept saying, we'll make sure we find the people responsible and blah, blah, blah.
Did he look in the mirror?
Okay, but let me finish.
Okay, sorry. It was an opening. I know
you're angry, but I get it.
It was an opening for the joke, too, so.
Yeah. But yeah, he literally didn't condone what happened, was putting all the blame on them, blah, blah, blah. But the day his ass is back in office,
he pardons all of them.
He pardoned every single one of them.
Yeah. Oh, these are very, very bad people. They're very bad. It's their fault. Oh, I'll pardon them.
Which, by the way, we're going to hold this for a minute.
Get ready with the beep. What a douchebag.
So I'm going to read this one. It's from KUOW, which apparently is part of the NPR. And I know that means fake news, right?
Yeah, it's fake news.
Fake news.
They're very, very, very mean people. They're not very nice. They're nasty, low IQ. I can't stop it. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I'm used to you.
Yeah, I'm more apologizing to other people.
What we're going to do is take a little break here, and then we're going to come back, and then I'm going to read this article about the type of people that Trump pardoned on January 20th.
And I'm going to get all this, all these voices out of my system. No, really, I promise I am.
Right. We all see better than that.
This is true.
We'll be right back.
Come join our website at h2ocroutonspodcast.com to keep up on all the latest. If you want to hear our new episodes a few days earlier and get exclusive access to members-only benefits, join our Patreon. For just $5 a month, you will get exclusive members-only benefits. After 3 months, we'll send you an H2O Croutons official sticker. You can also join our free mailing list to be notified of contests, upcoming episodes, and more. Please show your support by following us on our socials. Just search H2O Croutons on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, and more. To add us on Discord, search for h2o.croutons.podcast, all lowercase, and add us. If you have a question, need advice, or want to share your thoughts on any topic we discuss in our episodes, simply send us an email at h2oquestion@gmail.com. Or you can call or leave us a text at 1-786-505-2194. Again, that is 1-786-505-2194. H2O Croutons is syndicated on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, Amazon, SiriusXM, Pandora, iHeartRadio, Player FM, and more. Please make sure you like, follow, and review on your favorite platform. We truly appreciate each and every one of you. Stay crunchy!
Alright, so we are back. I'm gonna go ahead and read that article from KUOW. There's an editor's note at the very top, which gives you any indication. This story includes descriptions of violent crimes and sexual abuse involving both adults and children that may be disturbing to readers. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
On his first day in office, President Donald Trump granted clemency to every person charged or convicted for their role in the January 6, 2021 attack on the U.S. Capitol. Even those convicted of violently assaulting police officers. But Trump's pardons and communications for people he has called patriots did not wipe away certain defendants' extensive criminal records or any other criminal charges they may be facing. While many people had no criminal record prior to committing crimes on January 6, NPR has identified dozens of defendants with prior convictions or pending charges for crimes including rape, sexual abuse of a minor, domestic violence, manslaughter, production of child sexual abuse material, and drug trafficking.
Very fine people.
Yeah. The guy that you were talking about earlier, one of those defendants, Matthew Huddle, was recently shot and killed by law enforcement in Indiana during a traffic stop, just days after receiving a pardon for his role in the Capitol riot. Just days.
Shocking.
Yeah. In 2023, Huddle pleaded guilty to entering and remaining in a restricted building or grounds on January 6 and received a sentence of 6 months in prison. He had a extensive criminal history that demonstrates a pattern and practice of disrespecting and disobeying the rule of law, which is consistent with his actions on January 6. Huddle spanked his 3-year-old son so hard that he left bruises all over his child's backside and the child's neck. And the child had such extreme pain on his backside that he could not sit properly for a week. Huddle was sentenced to 2.5 years of imprisonment. That's the type of people that were pardoned while police officers were being beaten by these same people. When the hell do people realize you're on the wrong team?
Is that a rhtorical or an
It is, because common sense will dictate at some point where, when you're sitting there going, well, I'm condoning what Donald Trump did on his people on January 6th, and I condone the pardoning. Pardon my fucking voice, but holy shit. That is what makes me so angry. The people that I love and respect that voted for him, and they know that happened. And then they have the nerve to go, I backed the blue. When? When did you back the blue? Because the blue was getting beaten down, and you were standing there going, no, it's not okay. It will never be okay. And if you call yourself a Christian, you might want to go make yourself right with God, because he wouldn't be okay with it either. moving on. It's not.
I would say I have so many statements, but as you pointed out, people that you love and respect. So I'm just gonna let them go. So I'm not taking.
Well, it's not just people who I love and respect. It's also people you love and respect.
This is true too, and I'm just going to walk away. Well, I'm more willing to do that and burn those bridges while I'm standing on them. But that's me.
I do not and will not ever understand how people can condone that behavior and then say, "But I back the blue." You literally, and then call the Democratic Party. Well, they're the ones that want pedophiles. Have you been taking a look at your party and the president who's been around Jeffrey Epstein? Diddy? Hello, I can keep going down the list. We both know where I'm heading.
I mean, without going down this rabbit hole, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna say, wow, worried about all these drag queens molesting children, but it's a lot of youth pastors that I see doing it, and not a drag queen to be seen.
It seems like people just don't understand. I'm not a Democrat. You're not a Democrat. We're not Republicans.
No.
I think we're both very independent. America over politics.
It's, and I'll say one. It's worth noting, for the audience. I think it's worth noting that when Jen and I started talking, even before we even got together, I'd say it's worth noting that. And I can't even say, she was Democrat, I was Republican. We voted differently. Definitely kind of both towed them, I definitely lean more to the right, and I think she's still stayed in the center. We voted differently, but it's been interesting kind of seeing it as we've both, we've changed. It's both of us. When we go to vote, I vote, however I want to. Jen votes however she wants to. We'll talk about it leading up to an election.
Absolutely.
And go back and forth, and knowing that we can't necessarily convince the other one of, hey, and just trying to explain, hey, I see it this way. Oh, okay.
You opened my eyes to gun laws.
Right. And
and I opened your eyes to
healthcare.
Yeah.
But like I said, we don't sit there and tell each other, hey, I need you to vote this way. I want you to vote this way. It's ultimately it comes down to we do ourselves. And whether or not we agree with however the other one votes, it's what it is.
Yeah, like I voted for Donald Trump first term, and then I got smart and admitted my mistake and humbled myself to do so, which I wish a lot of people would do now so we can get our country back before he ruins it.
Well, and it's leading up to that, I had voted, when it came to 2008, I voted McCain. 2012 and 2016, I voted independent. I think I went libertarian with both of those. And then came 2020, I was like, okay, no, not going to go libertarian. Definitely don't want Donald Trump. So it's like I said, it's just worth, to me, I thought, it's worth noting that we have differing opinions and people learn, they talk about stuff. I won't even necessarily say mature, but they, form different opinions on it. And it's how we both kind of did with each other, talk to each other about it, and calmly. Well, not always calmly.
Yeah, we never fought over that.
No, not fought. I won't. But we never fought. Absolutely.
The most we could say is one of us would be like, "Oh, come on!"
Right. I think the most of it would be, "Oh, you're full of shit." It's passionate about it. Absolutely. That's where I'm going. It's not necessarily calm. We've been passionate about our beliefs, but we didn't knock each other down for it at all.
Right.
Which is how the process is supposed to work. At least that's what I thought.
It's called debating, not freaking breaking into Capitol buildings because you didn't get your way.
Right. Exactly. Thank you for bringing it back because I went down a rabbit hole. I apologize.
No, it's fine. That's how I look at it. And I want to say that when Trump was asked about why he decided to just pardon all of them, he basically said it would be too hard to go through the individual cases one by one. You knew who the top dogs were.
Yeah.
You knew who won and cited it even further. You saw them all on film. And you also know who was responsible for that guy dying the next day.
The leader of the Proud Boys.
Exactly.
You got his name left and right. You didn't have to search hard. How do these dudes
call themselves patriots?
Because it makes them feel better about themselves.
That I do not. Look, studying my family history, you both know that I found that I have ancestors that fought in the American Revolution.
Right.
And we have my fourth great grandfather and many other ones I haven't even tapped into yet, which we both know of. Okay.
Right.
Done with that. Because of them, I look at this stuff and I go, this is why I must feel so passionately that I get angry about it. All this crap that's happening, and you're going to sit there and call yourselves patriots, and you do what you did. That's not patriotism. It's ignorance.
Yeah.
And, whoa.
I mean, haven't talked about it here, but I mean, in my family history for over easily the past century that I couldn't go back without even batting an eye. There's been somebody in my bloodline, and often several within a generation, that have served. Even if it's for 4 years, it's because it's something that we felt passionate about. That we've look, it's, and I'm trying not to go down a rabbit hole, so I'm gonna make it really brief. I was lucky enough to be born here in this country. Ain't gonna be president of the United States or anything like that, but I was lucky enough to be born here, so but because of that, I feel that I kind of have to give something back, and it's been kind of my family as well. Or it's just, you know what? I need, in my case, hey, I need some direction in my life. Well, I'll go join the army. Found out it was for me for a while. But it's something to me, at least personally. I can't say for the rest of my family, obviously, or ancestors, what have you. It's something sacred. It's something that you believe strongly enough in that you have to. You want to be a patriot, okay. The meme is a veteran is someone who wrote a blank check to the United States up to and including the cost of their life, and I'm misquoting it, but the idea still gets through. I believe that strongly in the U.S., the concept of America. And these people calling themselves patriots, that I would denigrate them as Gravy SEALs or Meal Team 6. Oh, I'm going to put on camo and I'm going to storm the Capitol. Okay, Chubby, that's good.
I mean, even just the headdress and crap that people are wearing, like, what the hell? First of all, get the headdress off your head.
Yeah, there's that too.
There's not a Native American out there who would like that. If you're
No.
going to say you are, you should probably go get to know them better, because they would have your hide for less.
Would scalp be the inappropriate term there?
No.
Okay, and I'd be on board with it. But
Well, I'd just say we say screw it and hand the country back to the natives.
it is, and I want to point out too that going way hard to the we're talking about the hard right, going way hard to the left. Cultish behavior is a mental issue.
Yeah,
it is. And this was cultish behavior writ large.
This finally, it's like I keep saying, it emboldened all the people who were staying quiet. Now they all think, oh, now it's okay. And
Right.
they were saying that about the opposing party because of people who have, gender identity issues or whatever you want to label it as. I don't know. I don't care.
That's their problem. That's their life.
Exactly. It's not hurting anybody else, but what these people are doing did.
Right. And that's, look, and
Why can't people recognize that?
I mentioned cults. Some of you might have to Google this. I have an encyclopedic knowledge about this kind of stuff because that's how my brain works, and I apologize in advance. The Heaven's Gate cult, I think in 1995, a bunch of guys put on Nikes and tracksuits and all committed suicide because they were going to catch up with the Hale-Bopp comet coming around Jupiter.
You're right. That's what happened. I looked it up recently.
It's,
To
you know what?
refresh.
It's weird, and it's
That's
like I
one way
said,
of putting it.
yeah, well, and like I said, I'm that kind of guy who listens to those kind of podcasts constantly because of that kind of stuff. It fascinates me. But that being said, you know what? They at least didn't hurt anybody but themselves.
Right.
I'll give them credit where credit's due. They're still bug nutty, but they took themselves out and didn't take anybody else out, as opposed to these January 6th bleep that out. As opposed to these people who, oh, I'm going to go and do harm to others. No. This world is hard enough without making life difficult for other people.
Which I want to say this because they were saying there's a new thing that they're all like, it was a landslide election. I'm going to do a little math for people.
Wait. Which one? Which one?
2024.
Look,
My headphones.
sorry. Sorry. I laugh very loudly. It make me go ha ha. And with my Indiana public school education, even I know that math. Go ahead.
So, I had this argument with the guy. The other day
I know.
Because I had his. I was like, oh, we're going to go down this road. Okay, let's go. I'm driving. So,
but actually, I'm going to show you the math here, sir.
just basically says, so this is what I said to this guy, and I saved it because I did the math, and this is commonplace for people. I actually got to use it today again, because this woman's like, you think that she was going to win? It was a landslide. No, it wasn't. But this is not me. This is somebody else arguing with
Right.
And I was like, okay, I'm stepping in, because I will relieve anybody who's getting crushed by that.
Mm-hmm.
It's my personality,
Hey,
even in real life.
Oh, you're being a jerk. I got time for this fight.
And that, me, I'll do that any day of the week.
No,
outside.
don't know that one bit.
So here's what I said. There were roughly 245 million people who were eligible to vote in the United States in the 2024 election. About 155 million ballots total were cast. This would mean an estimated 89 million Americans, or about 36% of you, didn't vote. Which, why? God, please, it was a serious election.
Even unserious elections.
You should, yes, but this one was big. To move on, the actual math. It tells you that 64.06% of Americans voted, which means 35.94% of Americans did not, which would represent the 89 million people mentioned above. Considering a little over 77 million voted or dumped the Trump, and a little over 75 million voted for Kamala, I'd say that still doesn't equate to 80%, is what his claim was, that he won by 80%.
Mm-hmm.
This guy's math must have been horrible.
Well.
In fact, it means that only 49.9% of those 155 million eligible people to vote voted for him.
So less than a clear majority.
Yep. And then 48.4% of that 155 million voted for Kamala. The rest, 1.7%, were third-party votes.
Okay.
So technically, he only won by 1.5%.
So, and let me ask you something here real
It's
quick.
not a landslide.
No, it's not. It's not.
80% either.
It's not. Can you give me that total number again of total eligible voters?
Eligible voters was 245 million.
245 million. Okay. And you've got rough numbers for total votes for each one, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So, what, 77 and 75
Yes.
million each?
Yeah. It was a little over both for each.
And it was-
Not by much.
And 245 total. So, yeah. So, again, doing the math here. Yeah. 1.5%.
Yeah.
Of the total eligible voters
Yes.
was the difference.
That was it. It was that close of a freaking call with the popular vote. Yeah, that's not landslide.
No. Oh, but
And it wouldn't take much to switch them back.
But I get so many of the electoral votes. Yeah, and I have my opinions on that at this point.
Right. But we
Right.
both know.
But
we
still,
both know.
it wasn't 80% of the electoral
No, it
vote
sure
either.
wasn't. It was, and this is, if you're doing math like that, and then one guy arguing with me yesterday about the Constitution, I think I read it to you.
Yeah, I think so.
He's like, if you're an illegal alien, then you don't have any rights. And I'm like, hold on a minute.
Actually, I'm
think-
about to school you on some things here.
I will sum this particular segment up with this.
Yeah.
The people that claim to be patriots
Okay.
have never really looked at the Constitution or the Bill of Rights. And the people that claim to be Christian have never really looked at the Bible.
Well, I think they've looked at all of those
They hold
documents.
them in their hands. That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah. They haven't actually read them.
Because if they did, none of them would be opening their mouth saying the stuff they say.
Well, no, I think I disagree. I think they'd still be opening up their mouths because there is no shortage of stupid shit that people will say.
Oh my God, I know it's all over the internet. But
Right.
You know what's great?
What's that?
The internet is forever.
I know.
So,
It's
100
so
years from
awesome.
now, when they're talking about this in a future history class, and I hope you guys are listening, they're literally going to be able to look and see what people voted for him.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's all out there.
Yeah.
Most people have said it, and you can kind of tell based on who they are and what they're into or whatever. By the way, not all military are Republican. Not all police officers are Republican.
No.
Stop the generalization because you're losing.
There aren't. I would be willing to go so far as to say there's a more of a right lean as opposed to hard.
I wouldn't say you're wrong with this generation that we're in.
With
right now.
with this,
they're different.
You know, and that's fair because I'm basing that off of my generation and the generation that served with me.
But you were also raised hardcore.
You know, not even hardcore Republican. I wasn't raised. No, I can't. It's to be fair, I can't say I was raised hardcore Republican.
But you are enough that you were raised around that.
I was raised right leaning. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, they never hardly talk about politics, so I didn't really even know what was going on until I got old enough and started learning more.
Right.
So that's your perception of your time.
Yeah, that's a fair statement.
But you have a lot of Gen X that came before you, and there are still Gen X people, which blows my mind that they're okay with this.
Well,
I could go on to a whole other
we don't have time for that today.
No.
I don't know what. Oh, that's what we're going to talk about. I get to say it. Okay, cool.
Yes, you get to say it.
It's because I won't mess it up, right? Dignified transfer.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to wrap up this particular part of it and make it a end of part 1. I will jump back in on the next round with part 2, and we'll go from there because clearly we have a lot to talk about.
We're kind of opinionated on these topics. It happens.
I agree. That's okay. I like being opinionated. It's better than being a book of nothing.
It's better than...
Just
you know what? No, I'm not. I'm just not. I'm going to leave that alone. It's too easy.
All right, so thank you for tuning in. We will see you next time on part 2. Until then, I'm out of here.